Do you blame Microsoft for having a 6-pointed star on their clip art?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Justin, let me be honest. Donald Trump is of an age where he would have known people who would have had numbers on his arm. His father was of an age that would have known people who had numbers on their arm. So I don't want to hear that there's misinterpretation. This was a direct anti-Semitic statement.
Jesus. I'm sorry. I was going to just let it go.
Yeah.
We have another, I know what he's thinking. I know what's in his heart. How about just plain old insensitive and stupid?
Great.
And then when it's called and an organization around him that is so incompetent that they can't say, no, don't do this until after the fact when people start talking about it, and then they pull it down, and then he says, I didn't mean it. I don't know what he meant. The thing is,
it was stupid.
It was just stupid. If you want to be anti-Semitic, you're probably not going to go to that particular item. There's a whole host of other things you can do. You may not want to hang around the websites that he or people around him are apparently spending time on, because this came from.
You also bring up a critical fact in this. Well, you bring up the other point of this is the fact that this exact same graphic was pulled down from a website that allegedly has ties to white supremacist groups throughout the country. Go ahead, Del Welver.
Hasn't he retweeted a bunch of people with ties to this over time and racial stuff? So I think I'm not a political writer or whatever, but I've heard people talk about in the political sphere, okay, one mistake, fine, 2 mistakes, fine, 3 of these now, and you didn't really apologize, or 4 or 5. I mean, I don't know. When can you? That's a good question that you got at, and this nice lady got at. The name's all sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Nicotine hit me. When can you fairly put someone's motivation into it, and does it matter?
It does matter.
That's actually really good.
That does matter. It does.
No, I think it does matter. He's got a son. He's got a son-in-law who's Jewish. His daughter is married, and they have 3 children. And he's got lots of friends. He just does stupid shit all the time.
Family show.
It's no wonder that he gets into trouble. And he then tries to double down because it is not in his character to ever be able to say, I got that wrong, that was a mistake, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Admiral Ken.
The fact that he has a son-in-law that's Jewish doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean a darn thing at all. The fact of the matter is, if you saw that graphic sometime Saturday morning and it didn't hit you that there was a subliminal message being transmitted, then I don't know what to do to help you. I really don't. It is this guy doesn't just say dumb stuff. This guy believes this stuff, but he doesn't. Donald Trump is, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, but I've been black for 57 years now, and that doesn't look like there are going to be any changes anytime soon. There's 2 kinds of racists. There's the Klansman. There's the guy that subscribes to these websites that we were talking about, and there's the guy, or guy being the non-gender specific term of the new millennium, the person who basically says and does all this stuff but doesn't think he's a racist. I'll take guy number 1 every time. I know what to deal with there.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, is Bob Hines. This is a situation where this man now is the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party for president. This is a man that you would expect at this stage. He's been at it now for over a year. That at this stage he would surround himself with a team that would at least attempt to have a clue to keep him out of this type of box.
Wouldn't you hope?
But here's the thing: is when they got rid of Lewandowski, the old campaign manager, everybody thought, oh, he's going to pivot. He'll look more presidential. He won't make the stupid mistakes. And less than a week after that happens, he's got this. where is the wake-up call for the Trump camp to say, we got to cowboy up and get ready to do this?
I'm not so sure it's not too late.
Is it too late?
I don't know, but it's he says ridiculous things, and he doesn't appear to recognize that they're ridiculous.
Absolutely amazing.
And it is amazing.
Go ahead.
Trump is the
Admiral Ken.
Trump is the smartest guy in the room. You can surround him with the best and brightest minds there are. He will always be the smartest guy in the room. And if you look at his behavior, not just over the last year, but you can look at how he behaves on that stupid TV show of his. He is the smartest guy in the room. And to expect him to pivot, I think you might as well wait for Santa Claus.
But here's the thing: is to sit there and go, well, wait a minute, it was a sheriff's star. I mean, that's bush
The
league.
real question is, how many guys does he have that will basically throw themselves in front of the train for him? Like the digital media assistant or manager he's got, who used to be his caddy.
Right.
Now, he never seems to run out of these people that are willing to throw themselves in front of the bus for him. And you know what? If
Wait a minute.
If that's the key to financial success in this country, Donald, sign me up, dude. Seriously.
But here's the thing: is Paul Ryan today stated that look, there's no question Donald Trump's got to clean up his social media. Point blank, it's got to happen.
Or what?
I know.
Well, wait a minute.
What?
That's the big question.
Listen,
Or what?
right now, I believe it's too late for him to recover.
He's not gonna.
No.
So do we just so what I'm hearing is we just sign this over to Hillary and say, hey, we'll get him in 2020.
I mean, pick which item. I mean, Jews have a long memory on this kind of stuff. We don't tend to overlook these kind of things.
Exactly.
But let's go beyond that.
Yeah.
The Hispanics, the African Americans that showed up at his rally that he said, "Oh, look, there's my black." Really? And going beyond that, making fun of a handicapped reporter. I mean, where does that end? I mean,
right in the sewer.
At a certain point, it is just who he is. I mean, and not only to do that, but never to actually apologize. Even when talking to evangelical Christians, somebody asked, what would he have to atone for his sins? And while I am not a Christian, as I understand, one of the premises is we are all sinners, and we all have to apologize for something. And he said, no, pretty much nothing. Really? How does that work?
It doesn't.
Justin's never sinned.
Oh, country.
Del. Oh, you give me way too much credit.
Let me count.
I haven't sinned.
Let me count.
In
5 minutes.
I haven't sinned in this segment. Let's just say that. I mean, the bottom line here is, it seems to me though, is Donald Trump gotten so populist that he now has to bank on the undereducated white guy to get elected, that's now the platform he's taken? Alan?
He's done very well with them so far, and as I said last week, he's hoping that that he's running for president of the United States of Amnesia, so that
Amnesia also has the same level. It's America.
Repeal the women's right to vote.
If he can pivot, and he's made some. Let's acknowledge that every now and then he'll make a move or a step in that direction before he messes it up and loses the ground he gained or most of it. There are people who really, really, really do not want Hillary Clinton to be president, and if they really don't want her and he's the choice, is there anything that he can do between now and November?
Endorse Gary Johnson.
That might bring about Hillary not being president. I mean, I don't know. We all have watched with wonder and horror for the last year as this TV jerk who is so full of himself beat off 16 people, some of whom were credible, thoughtful guys that we and women who we thought might be interesting candidates, and he prevailed on all of them. largely relying on this
Populism.
core group of populism and the low information white voters.
Are there enough of them to win the general election?
Well,
There's no way.
it
No.
doesn't seem
No.
like it, but it depends on who shows up, and I don't think he's got a chance.
if
right?
anything, I don't
But
think-
I didn't think he had a chance to be where he is today.
But wasn't it different in the Republican primary where, as an outsider reading the stories about it, that the fellow Republicans I remember running in that were afraid to take him on and hit him hard
Well,
until it was too late. But now,
everybody uses the Reagan Hastert rule of don't talk bad about your fellow Republicans,
Except for Trump.
Trump. And then when you do talk about him, he comes back. And look, no question, the guy is a social media. The guy knew how to use the media and social media and technology to his benefit. But for crying out loud, at some point, we want you to at least attempt to look, presidential, which this guy apparently does not do. Here's the funny thing is, I got to tell you, I think that if anything, Donald Trump's going to get out the vote for everybody but uneducated white males in middle America to get out the vote. I can tell you right now, Hispanics are lining up waiting. They'll vote for Gary Johnson. They'll vote for Hillary.
Yeah, John
They'll-
McCain's in trouble because of it.
John McCain's in trouble. John McCain is in trouble. That's why you have to bring out W. Who'd ever thought that W would be the salvation of John McCain's senatorial run?
No, but it's worth noting that, back in 1980 when Ronald Reagan, I believe it's in Philadelphia, Mississippi, where he made his announcement with the states' rights platform, that was as close as he was willing to get to flirting with the racist vote, of talking in code to, this is, by the way, I understand your concerns and I'll be with you in the White House, implying it. Trump is so over the top that any thinking person cannot possibly overlook this stuff.
Right.
And that's what's just so amazing.
And also, by the way, the Trump camp thinks that the sheriff of Maricopa County might be Jewish because he wears a 6-pointed star. That's what the media's portraying. as.
and
Joe-
not all
Joe
sheriffs-
Arpaio
not all
action?
sheriff's badges are 6-pointed
I think I
stars.
saw him at Shul.
Not all badges are 6-pointed stars.
No, I know that. Yeah, and
Many are not.
Yeah, many are not. But the media is overblown because they say, well, if you look at all the stars that sheriffs use, they have very distinct circles at the end of them. That's not true. Go look at SFPD.
The
Go look
6-point
at
Star of David. That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's the-
Exactly. Yeah. L'Chaim, and you have the right to remain silent. Brilliant.
Are
Brilliant.
we going to be done?
No. We're going to do that right now. We're going there. I did my closing joke. Therefore, it is now time for my favorite part of the show. Tell Me a Story, where we talk about the news innuendo, stories in and outside the Beltway. I'm going to start off. Alan, you wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about a really big loss in the nation. You want to talk about Eli for a second?
So Denise mentioned that Elie Wiesel died this week. I met him 35 years ago, and we were friends ever since. We went to the Thai-Cambodia border together to bear witness to a humanitarian disaster taking place at the border. He was well known then as a writer. He had become the chairman of Jimmy Carter's Holocaust Memorial Council, the group that would create the Holocaust Museum, and we traveled together. We spent many hours together. He had a problem, which I won't describe here, that with the White House and what it was trying to do with this council, and he and I spent hours talking about it, and I gave him some advice, which seemed pretty obvious to me, and he followed it, and it worked, and he thought forever after that I was a genius, which was always nice, even though I thought, this wasn't that hard to figure out. But we had this friendship, and there's nothing like going to an area where there's conflict, gunfire in the distance from time to time, about 150 people from Europe and the U.S. trying to bring attention back to this humanitarian disaster. And he was intense. He was serious. Prior to Cambodia, he was pretty much exclusively focused on remembering the lessons of the Holocaust and then paying a lot of attention to the persecution of Soviet Jews. He began to branch out, and in his later life, he would bear witness and use his knowledge of what happened in the Holocaust to speak to presidents, to tell presidents